13. Start a side hustle. In the times we're living in, it's almost impossible to solely live off one income stream. That's why you need to create or find another source of income, especially if you're broke. Whether it's walking dogs or babysitting or any other paying side gig, you have to take up an additional source of income. Today, it's even easier to get a side gig with all the available freelancing platforms such as Upwork and Freelancer. The options are endless. 14. Go on a cash diet. The cash diet is a sort of term for juicing for the financial world. In fact, anyone who isn't financially stable should try it. This diet involves walking around with cash and paying for everything in cash. There's only so much cash you can have at any given point, meaning your spending will be limited. In this day and age of digital money and instant loans, you can get everything you set your eyes on instantly. This leads to impulse buying and unnecessary expenditures. I know you're probably thinking, oh, how will this be possible? I buy everything online. But guess what? That's the reason you're broke. Do yourself a favor and cut your credit cards up. You can thank us later. 13. Lie. Take this one with a grain of salt. Lying isn't right, but in some life and death cases, it is really necessary. To avoid the impending death of your financial being and you ending up in debt, you need to be a creative liar. Say you're planning a wedding. Come up with creative ways of saving costs. Call the venue you're hiring for the event and say you're organizing a family gathering instead. Do the same with the decor and other service providers. You'll be surprised with the cost difference and potential money saved. 12. Start saving. Put aside the little that you have. Make sure you set aside part of what you have, however little. They say saving is the golden ticket to financial freedom, and it is indeed. But what matters most is building that savings muscle. You can save this month, and maybe the next, then end up spending everything by the third month and breaking the cycle. However, when you build a routine, you end up saving consistently over a long period of time. This pile of money stashed away will build the foundation to grow you financially. 11. Start investing. Once you've saved for a while, it might be time to start investing. You can seek a financial advisor at this point to help you determine the best opportunities around you. Create a small portfolio made up of your investments and watch your money grow. This is the only way you can multiply your little savings into a lump sum. 10. Take financial courses. You may not have all the time in the world with a 9-to-5 job and a side hustle, but you can still make time to learn something new, especially if it's about your finances. Today, there are so many financial gurus offering courses for as little as a couple of dollars. However, before you start, find out who the course creator is, read their profile, and find out if they're certified. There are so many crooks out there looking to make a quick buck, so be wise and do your research diligently. 9. Watch your money. Just like in business, how you should know your numbers, the same applies to your finances. You should know exactly how much you have in each account at all times. If you have any loans, note them down. Always have a full record of what you have, the assets you own, any loans, and their values. This can be done by opening an Excel sheet, which is free, and recording everything that you spend money on. Once you have a clear picture of your financial status, you can easily manage your money better. 8. Cut down on credit card expenses. Credit cards are great, but only if they're well managed. How you pay them off will determine your credit score. The credit score is important because it informs all financial institutions on your creditworthiness and alerts them on the available loans and interest rates applicable to you. So you have no choice but to manage each card you have accordingly. Always pay interest when it's due. Only use your credit cards for necessities. Never use your credit cards for any impulse purchases, and constantly check your credit score to review your performance. 7. Pay off loans. If you're broke, chances are you have debt. Create a list of all the loans you have and the interest rates on each of them. Once done, arrange them from the one with the highest to the lowest. Then, finally start paying off the lowest first. Research shows that paying the lowest rated loans first gives you the motivation to pay off the rest. 6. Cut off some friends. You don't need to be friends with so many people. Just keep a few friends who are closest to you. Here's why. The more friends you have, the more birthday parties, the more gifts to buy on Christmas, and so on. In short, you'll end up spending a lot more money to please a lot more people. Keep a few friends who you resonate the most with. Trust us, you'll thank us later. 5. Spend less time on social media. Studies indicate that social media contributes to about 38% of all depression cases. Most people don't post their true reality on social media. In fact, 80% of people fake it. You may think someone has the perfect life, with designer clothes, cars, and fancy things, but turns out they're just as broke as you, but in deeper debt. Instead of wasting your time wallowing over what you could have and wish your life was as interesting and fun as theirs, limit your time on social media. This can be done with apps that monitor your screen time and block access to your social media accounts. But let's be honest, if you're broke, you shouldn't be wasting time on Instagram, Snapchat, or whichever other social media app you spend a lot of time on. Instead, use your time to be more constructive, learn something new, or find a side gig. 4. Plan for your babies. Children are a lot of fun, but the last thing you want as a broke millennial is to have babies at this time. Children are expensive, that's a fact. From labor expenses at the hospital, to insurance, to other medical bills, you'll cough out a lot of money raising your child. If you don't have your money right, it may not be the best time to have a child. Plan for this with your partner, and when your pockets are no longer empty, you can now consider having a baby. Plus, you don't want to bring a child into this world to suffer, right? 3. Identify trigger warnings. Find out what triggers you to spend money. Some people end up making impulse purchases under stressful conditions. For me, when I get upset about anything, I used to go online and purchase unnecessary candy or expensive chocolates. And my mind would be like, oh, you're gonna spend $55 on a designer chocolate box. That's probably not good for your waistline or pockets. Once you identify your triggers, find solutions that don't involve money to solve them. This may be the hardest thing to do, but with time, it gets easier. 2. Move back home. If you have parents or guardians who can accommodate you, then it's a no-brainer. Move back home. You'll end up saving a ton of money, which would have otherwise gone to rent and other utilities. Don't be embarrassed about it. Just make the move and do it as soon as possible. If this is something you absolutely can't do, you can always get a roommate who will split the expenses with you. 1. Start a retirement plan. When you're broke, this may not be the first thing on your mind, but it should be part of your grand financial plan. Visualize yourself at the age of 55. Yes, years into the future, and picture in your mind's eye the kind of life you want to live. How much money would you want to have? What type of house or houses would you want to own? Will you want to travel the world or do anything else? Once you picture this, determine how much money you would need to sustain your dream lifestyle after retirement. Now open a retirement savings plan with a great interest rate that will enable you to live the life you want. The power of compounding interest plays a key role in growing your wealth tremendously, so that little $100 savings a month can go a long way in increasing your money after a couple of years. And finally, you should at all times stay positive. Just because you don't have money now doesn't mean it's the end of the world or that it's your indefinite end. Keep your head up always and do what you gotta do. Without positivity, none of these tips will work.